Good morning, graduates, friends and honoured guests. My name is Donald McEwen and I'm chaplain to the University, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this graduation ceremony at the University of St Andrews on this exciting day for you. Presiding at today's graduation ceremony is the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Dame Sally Mapstone. This ceremony is taking place in the Younger Hall, officially opened in 1929. The Younger Hall is the University's venue for graduations and most formal ceremonies. In a few moments, the academic procession will enter the hall, and to welcome it, St Salvator's Chapel Choir will lead us in singing the Gaudeamus. Please do join in. The words can be found in your programme. Now, should the fire alarm sound, please remain seated. The alarm will be silenced and staff will immediately investigate the cause of the activation. Should an evacuation be necessary, the alarm will then sound continuously and you will be advised of the need to evacuate. Staff will direct you accordingly. Please follow staff direction and leave the hall by the most appropriate exit. At the end of the graduation ceremony, all our new graduates will join the academic procession, leaving the Younger Hall and walking along North Street, crossing the PH and entering St Salvator's Quadrangle through the archway. To supporters, please wait until all our new graduates have left the hall. Ushers will then show you to the nearest exits. Outside, you will be directed to the quad where you will be able to join our new graduates. Please ensure that your mobile phone is switched off or at least is on silent. You are welcome to take photos and video footage, but please stay seated to do so. And now, to capture this unique moment, our official photographer will take a picture of those graduating today before the ceremony begins.
Good morning. Are you ready for this? Like my camera? I can see everybody in the hall, so there's no really any hiding places. Okay, very nice. Where's your smiles? Well done. And another one, one more. Good, thank you very much. Congratulations and enjoy your day. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you enjoy the graduation ceremony. As you are able, please rise for the Gaudeamus. Oremus. Omnipotens et aeterni Deus, actiones nostras omnes aspirando praeveni, et adjuvando prosequere, ut cuncta nostra operatio, et praesertim hoc quod nunc agredimur opus, a te incipiat et per te cleptum finiatur. Quatenus, sanctum nomen tuum glorificemus, et misericordia tua vitam aeternam consequamur, per Iesum Christum, Dominum nostrum. Amen.
Please be seated. Good morning, everyone. It is my happy duty as Principal and Vice-Chancellor to welcome you to this summer graduation ceremony at the University of St. Andrews. Graduation is the highlight of our academic year. At these ceremonies, students are awarded their degrees and people of distinction are honoured. We orient our academic calendar around these celebrations, and they are a tradition that speaks to the heart of our institutional mission. I am delighted that all of you can share in the joy of today's ceremony. Many of you who are graduating will have started your degree in 2021. You are the last of our COVID-era cohort. During your time here, you have needed to embody a greater degree of adaptability than any exercised by your recent forebears. But you have faced these challenges with aplomb, demonstrating fortitude as you endured restrictions and finding new ways to embrace long-held traditions. Though that legacy remains with you, the ritual and positivity of this graduation ceremony will help to take you further through it and into the next crucial stage of your life script. Today, we gather in the Younger Hall, a fitting setting for the celebration of our graduates' achievements. This well-loved venue has been the home of our graduation ceremonies since its initial opening in 1929. The Younger Hall has been extensively renovated in recent years. The refurbishment has revitalised this space for the next century of its existence, whilst ensuring that the entire building is fully accessible for all its users. The building's layout and decorations have been refreshed but are intrinsically unchanged, and the shape of the ceremonies remains the same. Today's graduands will cross the Younger Hall stage in a style that unites them with the students who for almost a century crossed it before them, and also, of course, with the students who crossed our stages in the 5 centuries before that. The broader graduation that we observe today has indeed taken place at St. Andrews since the second decade of the 15th century when the university was founded, and some of the rituals that were established in the 1400s remain an integral part of the ceremony. These rituals honour our history and signify the assumption of each graduand's place within an institution that has done as much as any other to shape our modern world. We are Scotland's first and foremost university, the 3rd oldest in the English-speaking world and one of the 25 oldest still operating. Across 612 years, students and academics have gathered here to build and disseminate knowledge, and their ambition has proven resilient to the challenges mounted against them. The religious and political regimes that have reared and crumbled, the pandemics and wars that have beaten at the doors. Ours is not, however, a story of survival, but of leadership. St. Andrews has been at the vanguard of political, cultural, and intellectual developments since our inception, and our people have steered the hands of monarchs and parliaments since our earliest days. And we are now very much focused on securing the future of our institution for the next 600 years. This is the aim of the university's Making Waves campaign, launched at the beginning of this academic year, and about which you can find out more in your copy of today's programme. The importance of our town predates the university's foundation. St Andrews was the ecclesiastical capital of medieval Scotland. The 12th century cathedral, the remnants of which will look upon the graduation procession at the end of this ceremony, was the largest and most revered building of its time. It was a centre for pilgrimage, played home to Scotland's senior bishop, and was consecrated upon completion in the presence of Robert the Bruce in 1318. University instruction commenced at St Andrews in May 1410, when our founder, Bishop Henry Wardlaw, invited a delegation of scholars, led by Lawrence of Lindores, a philosopher of renown, to the town. And university status was formalised when Pope Benedict XIII issued papal bulls from Peniscola in August 1413, which were met by great jubilation when carried into town the following February. These papal bulls granted the university the authority to award degrees in the faculties of arts, theology, canon and civil law, and medicine. In the 2 centuries following its inception, the university boasted a critical mass of strength in the faculties of arts and divinity. However, it did not flourish in the sciences or mathematics until the second half of the 17th century, 250 years after its foundation. Even then, the science of the university was confined to mathematics and natural philosophy until the end of the 18th century. By the middle of the 16th century, the University of St Andrews consisted of 3 collegiate societies, St Salvator's and St Leonard's colleges, which were dedicated to the teaching of philosophy and the arts, and St Mary's College, which focused on theology. The professors were regents, teachers in charge of the same group of students during the 4 years of the curriculum. However, in 1579, when the university was reconstituted following the Protestant Reformation, it appointed for the first time professors who were specialists on specific subjects, including a professor of mathematics attached to St Salvator's College. But mathematics was not especially well thought of in the university, and its professors were considered an unwanted burden. I should stress here, of course, how much times have changed since then. Mathematical teaching and research at St Andrews evolved in 1668 with the appointment of James Gregory, a Scottish mathematician, astronomer, and inventor, who was one of the 3 founders of calculus, inventor of the Gregorian telescope, and the man who discovered the principles of diffraction gratings. At the university, Gregory carried out important research in the fields of mathematics and astronomy and modernized the teaching of these subjects. He corresponded with leading natural philosophers in England and the continent and was instrumental in introducing the ideas of the scientific revolution to the community of the University of St Andrews, though not always to immediate acceptance. While James Gregory made a major impact on the subjects being taught and researched by the university, he also left an important mark on the face of the town. In 1673, he mathematically established a meridian line, a line circling the Earth from pole to pole, along which the time is the same, passing through St Andrews. Gregory's was the first ever non-ecclesiastical astronomical meridian line in Europe, the longest and most accurate of its kind for many years to come. Gregory conceived of his line almost 200 years before the Greenwich Meridian Line was established and adopted as the world's official prime meridian. St Andrews, and not Greenwich, is therefore the place where time began. To mark his meridian, Gregory carved it into the floor of his laboratory, now part of the King James Library. In 2014, a brass meridian line was installed in the pavement on South Street outside the library, alongside an accompanying plaque, to commemorate Gregory's achievement. In light of this piece of our history, we might ask ourselves, had Professor James Gregory not passed away only 3 years later in 1675, a month before his 37th birthday, would we be running on ST-AMT, St. Andrew's Mean Time, and not GMT? And what difference would this make? Well, 12 minutes of a difference, to be precise. Currently, all time in the world is calculated using a line passing through the Royal Observatory at Greenwich. Noon on this line is known as 12 o'clock GMT, Greenwich Mean Time. As St. Andrews is further west than Greenwich, the time at Gregory's meridian is 12 minutes behind GMT. So next time you are running late, you can make the excuse that you are simply operating on St. Andrew's time. While his meridian line has only been commemorated in recent years, Gregory has long occupied a significant place in the university's history as the first holder of its Regius Chair of Mathematics. A Regius Professor is literally a king's professor and holds a chair that historically was endowed by a monarch, with James Gregory being appointed by King Charles II. Now one of the oldest and most prestigious chairs in the United Kingdom, the St. Andrews Regius Chair of Mathematics is today held by Professor Kenneth Falconer, who was appointed by authority of the warrant signed by both Her Majesty the late Queen and the then First Minister of Scotland in 2018. I think it's safe to say that our maths department is one of the university's crown jewels. But more seriously, the inventiveness and the openness to new ideas that cross both disciplinary and national boundaries, modelled by Gregory, continue to be fundamental values of the staff and students who, 350 years later, follow his line across South Street. Returning now to today's ceremony and the rituals which connect us to our forebears. The first of these you have already witnessed when St. Salvator's Chapel Choir initiated proceedings with a rendition of the Gaudeamus, and the university chaplain, the Reverend Dr. Donald McEwen, delivered the opening prayer. As Vice-Chancellor, I preside over these ceremonies and am invested with the authority to award degrees, the presentation of which will immediately follow this introduction. Amongst those students graduating from our School of Medicine, this ceremony will also see the award of our BSc Hons Medicine to around 55 students who will go on to complete their medical studies with our partner medical school in Manchester, and to around 17 Canadian students who will complete their medical degree with our partners at the universities of Edinburgh and of Alberta. In recognition of the thoroughly collaborative nature of this programme, I am delighted to welcome Professor Margaret Kingston from the School of Medical Sciences at the University of Manchester, and Professors Darrell Rolfson and Stephen Caldwell from the Faculty of Medicine and Dentistry at the University of Alberta. The conferral of awards at bachelor's, master's, and doctoral level will constitute the core of this ceremony. I will confer degrees both on those many students who are present and on the smaller number of those who are unable to attend and who have thus graduated in absentia. As that phrase indicates, these rituals are conducted partly in Latin, following St. Andrew's tradition. For all graduands listed in this ceremony, present or absent, I will call upon the deans of the respective faculties and ask them to present each graduand for their award in turn. And I will then confer the degree with Latin phrases, one of which, for example, translates as, "I raise you to the rank of Master of Arts, and to symbolize this, I place upon you this cap." To most, though, I will simply say, "Et super te," meaning, "and upon you too." The precise moment of graduation occurs when the graduate's cap, or birrettum, which I will be utilizing, touches the head of the graduand. This academic cap has been used in every ceremony since December 1696, when it was acquired from a St Andrew's tailor, and it symbolises the ascension of our graduands into graduates and their assumption of an equal place within our alumni community. When the conferrals are complete, St Salvator's Chapel Choir will return to deliver a musical interlude, and we are thankful both to the choir and their director, Claire Innes-Hopkins, for the felicity they bring to this occasion. We will then proceed directly to one of the highlights of these ceremonies, the presentation of honorary awards, with the conferral of an honorary doctorate upon today's guest of honour, Sir Rory Collins. To close our ceremony, it is tradition to invite a member of the university to address our new graduates, wish them well as they progress to the next stage of their lives, and offer some final words of inspiration and congratulation. Today's guest speaker is Professor Dan Clayton from the School of Geography and Sustainable Development. The ceremony will then conclude with the benediction and the graduation procession. At St Andrews, the academics and professional staff who have supported you, our graduands, are immensely proud of your accomplishments. But this ritual does not mark the end of your association with St Andrews. You are joining a vital community of alumni who have positively shaped the world around them for 612 years and who support one another in the present. So while you are graduating, you are not leaving our community, but taking the next step in your St Andrews experience. And it is our sincere hope that you will continue to engage as a St Andrean throughout your life. Decanus Facultatis Artium.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Master of Arts with Honours, Emilia Brooks.
Te ad gradum magistri artium promovio, cuius rei in symbolum super te hoc beretum impono.
Molly Crompton.
Et super te.
Theo Gagan.
Et super te.
Marie Huckstep.
Et super te.
Jack Kennedy.
Et super te.
Emily McLaren.
Et super te.
Ella McLean.
Et super te.
Niamh Mulgrew.
Et super te.
Clara Salinas Mees.
Et super te.
Morgan Staples.
Et super te.
Yara Al-Ansari.
Et super te.
Amy Bartholomew.
Et super te.
Nora Booth.
Et super te.
Isaiah Bowen Carlin.
Et super te.
Michaela Cooney.
Et super te.
Alison Quirk.
Et super te.
Adelaide Walker.
Et super te.
Amelie Banks.
Et super te.
Mia Camarota.
Et Superte.
Sarah Bonaktar.
Et Superte.
Eja Chanlian.
Et Superte.
Lana Crouch.
Et Superte.
Jennifer Grayley.
Et Superte.
Akshay Joshi.
Et Superte.
Andrew Lee.
Et Superte.
Phoebe May.
Et Superte.
Rebecca Mitchell.
Et Superte.
William Morris.
Et Superte.
Jamie Persaud.
Et Superte.
Ellen Ravey.
Et Superte.
Helen Simon.
Et Superte.
Casey Warburton.
Et Superte.
Alexandra Godfrey.
Et Superte.
James Boyce.
Et Superte.
Catherine Bryce.
Et Superte.
Nora Krogsgaard.
Et Superte.
Iona McLaren.
Et Superte.
Emily McMenamin.
Et Superte.
Louisa Rasmussen.
Et Superte.
Leela Stady.
Et Superte.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for a thesis entitled Fertility Variation in China from Spatial and Life Course Perspective. Kuo Shihu.
Te ad gradum doctoris philosophiae promovio, cuius rei in symbolum superte hoc beretum impono.
For a thesis entitled Community Food Initiatives and Sustainable Transitions of the Food System, Learning from Practitioners, Projects and Policy in Berlin. Richard Marenbach.
Et Superte.
For a thesis entitled The Geopolitical Ecology of Conservation, Discourse and Power in Counter-Wildlife Trafficking Programs in Peru. Alejandra Pizarro Choi.
Et Superte. Decanus Facultatis Medicinae.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours, Shijola Adikoya.
Te ad gradum baccalaureae scientiae promovio, cuius rei in symbolum supete hoc beretum impono.
Isla Affleck.
Et supete.
Isla Ahmed.
Et supete.
Koichi Akashi.
Et supete.
Manal Alam.
Et supete.
Nasir Al-Bashrawi.
Et supete.
Rebecca Anderson.
Et supete.
Lily Antaregis Inigo.
Et supete.
Takmina Aziz.
Et supete.
Fabi Babu.
Et supete.
Mia Beatty.
Et supete.
Tara Bergeron.
Et supete.
Priya Boprai.
Et supete.
Theo Bridell.
Et supete.
Madeline Byrne.
Et supete.
Chloe Chan.
Et supete.
Lola Kiriko.
Et supete.
Godwin Choi.
Et supete.
Ahmed Dali.
Et supete.
Samuth De Silva.
Et supete.
Srisha Dristi.
Et supete.
Neve Dudley.
Et supete.
Maya El Tuki.
Et supete.
Jacqueline Elliott.
Et supete.
Kevin Fan.
Et supete.
Isabel Fenimore.
Et supete.
Lucy Forshaw.
Et supete.
Chloe Foster.
Et supete.
Emily Foster.
Et supete.
Kieran Gallagher.
Et supete.
Zara Glenn.
Et supete.
Amy Gray.
Et supete.
Neve Green.
Et supete.
Alicia Gulzar.
Et supete.
Asim Gupta.
Et supete.
Ramansh Gupta.
Et supete.
Lydia Habib.
Et Superte.
Jolie Hakim.
Et Superte.
Sam Hamidi.
Et Superte.
Bethan Hasty.
Et Superte.
Agni Hatzakis.
Et Superte.
Faris Hayatli.
Et Superte.
Tom Hilton.
Et Superte.
Charles Hicks.
Et Superte.
Jonathan Hoong.
Et Superte.
Olivia Howdle.
Et Superte.
Liba Imran.
Et Superte.
Fergus Yadelski.
Et Superte.
Karen Jakobsdotter.
Et Superte.
Sneha Jamarkatel.
Et Superte.
Amber Jandu.
Et Superte.
Aloka Jayasinghe.
Et Superte.
Chung Min.
Et Superte.
Rosalia Kanchir.
Et Superte.
Papachea Kitanyutanon.
Et Superte.
Ewan Keating.
Et Superte.
Nadia Khan.
Et Superte.
Mustafa Kalinch.
Et Superte.
Kushi Cloy.
Et Superte.
Matthew Coe.
Et Superte.
Ken Kont.
Et Superte.
Jemima Corvin.
Et Superte.
Emily Kwai.
Et Superte.
Elizabeth Lang.
Et Superte.
Chili Lau.
Et Superte.
Adam Layton.
Et Superte.
Binya Lung.
Et Superte.
Yana Lung.
Et Superte.
Amy Lewis.
Et Superte.
Jimin Lim.
Et Superte.
Pei Yi Lim.
Et Superte.
Chriswina Lobo.
Et Superte.
Joanna Louis.
Et Superte.
Thomas Mackay.
Et Superte.
Neve Mackenzie.
Et Superte.
Julia McClang Avincenia.
Et Superte.
Elizabeth McCone.
Et Superte.
Rory McIntyre.
Et Superte.
Mark Mackay.
Et Superte.
Maya Mearns.
Et Superte.
Alia Mehdi.
Et Superte.
Patricia Mitka.
Et Superte.
Saviki Mohan.
Et Superte.
Evie Morgan.
Et Superte.
Rosa Morgan Young.
Et Superte.
Liana Motamedi.
Et Superte.
Rayhan Mohammed.
Et Superte.
Anna Muller.
Et Superte.
Jaden Milabathula.
Et Superte.
Aisling Nathan.
Et Superte.
Hajra Naweed.
Et Superte.
Sarah Ung.
Et Superte.
Christopher O'Brien.
Et Superte.
Finlay O'Hara.
Et Superte.
Ilaria Luwa Ojikutu.
Et Superte.
Thomas O'Kane.
Et Superte.
Hania Omer Khan.
Et Superte.
Osman Omer.
Et Superte.
Naomi Omarogbi Alakiri.
Et Superte.
Alessia Overgaard.
Et Superte.
Joseph Padden.
Et Superte.
Kaya Patel.
Et Superte.
Lily Patterson.
Et Superte.
Ruhi Patwarden.
Et Superte.
David Quinn.
Et Superte.
Redeema Ranade.
Et Superte.
Finn Reed.
Et Superte.
Jessica Roberts.
Et Superte.
Nimwe Homaikat.
Et Superte.
Sashwika Venkatraman.
Et Superte.
Sukanya Sarwar.
Et Superte.
Uma Shute.
Et Superte.
Shwaib Shabazz.
Et Superte.
Amy Short.
Et Superte.
Lucy Sinclair.
Et Superte.
Akshat Sinha.
Et Superte.
Georgina Slaymaker.
Et Superte.
India Smith.
Et Superte.
Ralston Smith.
Et Superte.
Lucas Solar.
Et Superte.
Sophie Stewart.
Et Superte.
Yuki Sugimoto.
Et Superte.
Kishend Supramanian.
Et Superte.
Musa Tariq.
Et Superte.
Anastasia Terashenko.
Et Superte.
Asta Tucker.
Et Superte.
Forbes Thompson.
Et Superte.
Caris Thornton.
Et Superte.
Aurelia Tiffany.
Et Superte.
Talia Teriyaki.
Et Superte.
Vera Tong.
Et Superte.
Isabel Sa.
Et Superte.
Kessia Varki.
Et Superte.
Jennifer Voss.
Et Superte.
Louis Watt.
Et Superte.
Camille White.
Et Superte.
Charlie Williamson.
Et Superte.
Dara Wood.
Et Superte.
Shirley Zhao.
Et Superte.
Leila Zabani.
Et Superte.
Daniel Zhao.
Et Superte.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree in absentia on Sarah Abdallah, Alden Chow, Alimnas Imtiaz, Jana Jafar, Charlotte Jeffrey, Mahmoud Khattab, Beth Poole, Chirag Randawa, Ali Syed, Tai Tsao, Wilson Warkan, Jiwoo Yoon.
Eos absentes Baccalaureus Scientiae Renuncio.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Master of Science by Research, Abigail Coote.
Te ad gradum magistri scientiae promovio, cuius rei in symbolum superte hoc veretum impono.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for a thesis entitled Investigating the Impact of the Management of Subclinical Hypothyroidism on Long-Term Clinical Outcomes, Brenda Bauer.
Te ad gradum doctoris philosophiae promovio, cuius rei in symbolum superte hoc veretum impono. Many congratulations.
for a thesis entitled Evaluating the ArcLight, a low-cost tool to strengthen eye care and training in low-resource settings, Andrew Blakey.
Et super te. Congratulations.
For a thesis entitled Determining the Relative Role of the Glucocorticoid Receptor in Mediating Steroid-Induced Sodium Transport and Maintaining the Integrity of Epithelial Monolayers in Murine-Collecting Duct Cells, Struan Loughlin.
Et super te.
For a thesis entitled Maximizing Uptake and Utilization of Diagnostic Technologies in Low, Middle, and High-Income Countries During Health Emergencies, Learning from the COVID-19 Pandemic, Winters Mutamba.
Et super te. Congratulations.
For a thesis entitled An Interdisciplinary Study of Diagnostic Tools and Antibiotic Prescribing Practice for Urinary Tract Infection in Kenya, Helen Onyango.
Et super te. Congratulations, Helen.
For a thesis entitled Towards Fully Automated Analysis of Sputum Smear Microscopy Images, Marios Zachariou.
Et super te. Congratulations.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree in absentia on Rita Nachiboneka.
Eam absentem doctorum philosophiae renuncio. Decanus facultatis scientiae.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Bachelor of Science with honours, Katie Clemens.
Te ad gradum baccalarii scientiae promovio, cuius rei in symbolum super te hoc beretum impono.
Maria Afanina.
Et super te.
Rachel Anderson.
Et super te.
Flora Baker.
Et super te.
Poppy Edelman.
Et super te.
Samuel Esseny.
Et super te.
Keelan Green.
Et super te.
Jinan Jiang.
Et super te.
James Johnson.
Et super te.
Paul Kelso.
Et super te.
Rachel Kimball Jack.
Et super te.
Drew Laurie.
Et super te.
Abby Lennox.
Et super te.
Tara McLean.
Et super te.
Emma Sewell.
Et super te.
Alyssa Valerie.
Et super te.
Andrew White.
Et super te.
Maisie Wilkinson.
Et super te.
Ethan Myers.
Et Superte.
Lydia Allen.
Et Superte.
Lucrezia Belpietro.
Et Superte.
Annie Birchmore.
Et Superte.
Millie Crook.
Et Superte.
Anthony Ellis Milnes.
Et Superte.
Annabel Hepworth.
Et Superte.
Georgia Hope.
Et Superte.
Eleanor Jarrett.
Et Superte.
Lily Kane.
Et Superte.
Evie Marsh.
Et Superte.
Lindsay Marshall.
Et Superte.
Angus Mather.
Et Superte.
Abigail Myers.
Et Superte.
Elizabeth Miam.
Et Superte.
Alati Almedhead.
Et Superte.
Brogan de Tells.
Et Superte.
Catherine Fetterly.
Et Superte.
Patrick McGarahan.
Et Superte.
Hannah Stewart.
Et Superte.
Noel Tran.
Et Superte.
Vice-Chancellor, I have the honour to present for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy for a thesis entitled Investigating the Seasonal Behaviour of Tidewater Glaciers in Southeast Greenland, Oliver Hall.
Te ad gradum doctoris philosophiae promovio, cuius rei in symbolum superte hoc beretum impono. Many congratulations.
For a thesis entitled Family Trajectories and Health of Pakistanis and Their Descendants in United Kingdom and Norway, Joseph Harrison.
Et Superte. Congratulations, Joseph. Well done.
For a thesis entitled Loneliness, Social Isolation and Social Capital of Ethnic Minority, Immigrant Older Adults, a Mixed Methods Investigation, Mingxing Joshi.
Et Superte. Many congratulations. Well done.
For a thesis entitled Monitoring Soil Erosion and Vegetation Pattern Related to Microclimatic Conditions in Icelandic and Fennoscandian Tundra, Georg Kodel.
Et Superte. Many congratulations.
Vice-Chancellor, I ask you to confer the degree in absentia on Hannah Ewan.
Eam absentem doctorum philosophiae renuncio. I call upon the Dean of Medicine, Professor Deborah Williamson.
Vice-Chancellor, it is my privilege to present for the degree of Doctor of Medicine, honoris causa, Professor Sir Rory Collins. Sir Rory is one of the most influential figures in modern epidemiology and clinical research. His work has fundamentally shaped our understanding of cardiovascular disease, risk reduction, and the application of evidence-based medicine at scale. Over the past 4 decades, his research has consistently delivered insights that have improved outcomes for patients across the world. During the 1980s, and early 1990s, Sir Rory coordinated landmark mega trials involving over 130,000 patients, which demonstrated that clot-dissolving and clot-preventing therapies could more than halve mortality from heart attacks. These findings transformed emergency cardiac care worldwide and paved the way for the targeted use of non-pharmaceutical methods to open coronary arteries. Through his leadership in the Oxford Clinical Trials Service Unit, Sir Rory has continued to show the profound value of rigorous, large-scale trials. His contributions to the evidence base for the use of statins and blood pressure-lowering therapies have saved countless lives across the globe. Perhaps most notably, Sir Rory has served as the Chief Executive and Principal Investigator of the UK Biobank since its launch in 2005. Under his leadership, the UK Biobank has become one of the most important open-access biomedical research resources in the world. The successful recruitment of over 500,000 participants, combined with ongoing linkage to health records and biological samples, has created an unparalleled platform for discovery. It is now used by over 40,000 researchers globally and underpins thousands of high-impact publications. Throughout his career, Sir Rory has been a steadfast advocate for scientific integrity. In an era increasingly challenged by misinformation, his work stands as a model of transparency, rigor, and public value. Now, more than ever, we need leaders who uphold the principles of evidence-based medicine, those who in effect act as a guiding North Star for research that serves patients and society. In recognition of his extraordinary service to medical science and public health, Sir Rory was knighted in 2011, elected Fellow of the Royal Society in 2015, and named among Time magazine's 100 most influential people in health in 2024. He continues to influence global research through his commitment to collaboration, transparency, and excellence. Vice-Chancellor, in recognition of his outstanding contributions in epidemiology and clinical research, I invite you to confer the degree of Doctor of Medicine, honoris causa, on Sir Rory Collins.
Te ad gradum doctoris medicinae honoris causa promovio, cuius rei in symbolum super te hoc veretum impono. Rory, congratulations.
Well, I'd like to thank the Principal, the Vice-Chancellor of the University for this recognition, for this honour. For the son of a girl from Glasgow who had to leave school in her early teens because her family couldn't afford for her to stay on. This is a very special moment for me, so thank you for that. You've worked really hard for the last 3-4 years through very difficult times, and I really congratulate you and commend you on your degrees. I'd also like to recognize your families, without whom the support, moral, emotional, and probably financial, has allowed you to get to the point that you have. And I know very much how family support really makes a difference. Unlike you, for the last 3 or 4 years of work, I'm being recognized for actually 40 years of fun. I've had 40 years of being able to do what I wanted to do, and it's been an absolute treat. I've been unreasonably lucky, and I really hope that you too are unreasonably lucky and have the opportunities to do the things you want to do, that you find the things that you want to do. So I wish you well. I hope you're ready when luck comes and that you're ready to grasp it. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you.
I call upon Professor Dan Clayton of the School of Geography and Sustainable Development.
Vice-Chancellor, special guest colleagues, and most importantly, our marvellous graduates, many congratulations to you on your achievements, and many thanks to your families and supporters and friends and staff who have also helped you to this point. I hope you have a magical day, and I'm always as amazed as I am relieved sitting here to see you all navigate this stage in such finery without any trips and spills. It is my privilege and pleasure to offer these few words of reflection on your success, and my inclination as a geographer is to ask you to consider the importance of place, in our case, St Andrews, to how we lead our lives and to how our stories, journeys and bonds are made. As stuck out on a blustery edge of the North Sea as St Andrews is, it is, I think, a special place to study. And you, our students, are vital to making it so. Places are unique and have an inner identity. What happens in St Andrews stays in St Andrews, you might say. Although they are also made up of connections with other places and never wholly self-contained. Furthermore, while you're here for yourselves and your own futures, you have also been part of a community. Your student stories, like mine from many moons ago, will link you to others and here to elsewhere through a mix of work and play, focus and debate, determination and experimentation, some chance encounters and near misses, and some letdowns as well as successes. Your years at St Andrews have been shaped by what geographers would describe as different elements of place. And I'm thinking here about the specifics of how and where in the town you've studied and lived, and how and where you have interacted with others. Different study spaces and classroom settings, your halls and flats and rooms, sports and social clubs, cafes, shops, bars and beaches, and of course your student union. And with a fair amount of journeying between here and home, and on myriad adventures, field trips in our school. All of these particulars matter, and your stories and memories are bound up with them. What we might describe as the psychology of place also matters. It was the kindness of strangers, my own student peers, in an unfamiliar place that hit me when I started at university as a shy 18-year-old, and such kindness is, I think, one of the things that defines St Andrews. And my overriding feeling upon graduating, and perhaps yours too, was simply to be thankful. Thankful for the time and the opportunity, for the space in which I could grow as a student and as a young person, for being picked up when I wobbled, and for all I learned. When you started out in September 2021, most of you here, the world and this university was still inching its way out of the COVID-19 pandemic. And lives and studies were still somewhat curtailed. Well, we've come a long way since, and you are leaving St Andrews today with a whole lot more than just a degree, hood and scroll. You found your voice and discovered new things about yourself and how to care for others. You've learned how to wear a red gown in funny ways, on and off the shoulder, which bodes very well for the fashion industry. You have tested yourself, often to your limits, and been quite surprised and pleased, I should imagine, at what you found when you did. Against the self-interest abroad in the world today, you have found and upheld values of community. Your stories will not just be about hard graft and academic attainment, with moments of doubt and struggle along the way for sure, but also about friendship and fraternity. Your university days will have spawned some lifelong friendships, and St Andrews is notorious, about 17% notorious, I gather, for some of them becoming your spouses. You have learned how to make the most of challenging circumstances and done so with politeness and creativity. So let me take you back to the tail end of COVID, your first year, where I would end my Friday 2 to 5 p.m. online class with what I called a quarantini. So we paused proceedings, the teaching proceedings at 4:30, for students to go off and retrieve a drink of their choice and return just for a chat about how everything was going. Well, the quarantinis were educational achievements in their own right, decorated with bits of fruit and veg, and with names such as the kale kite and blueberry bat that should really be patented. One Friday, I inquired after a student with a murky brown drink in a very elegant-looking cocktail glass. "That's a vodka and Marmite," she submitted, looking somewhat flat. "Well," she continued, "I've got COVID. I don't feel too bad, but I can't taste anything. I can't smell anything. And I absolutely detest Marmite, so I thought, why not?" And she downed it in one, of course, to rapturous applause. You've done, found, become all of these things and more. So to conclude, be proud of what you've achieved. Hearty congratulations. We thank you for all you have brought to our community these last few years. And before you leave, take a final look around the place you've made home, where you've made your student stories and memories, and then think about the kinds of places you want to be in, you want to make, and you want to fight for in the future. Congratulations.
If you are able, please stand for the benediction.
Oremus. Gratia Domini nostri Iesu Christi, et caritas Dei, et communicatio Spiritus Sancti sit cum omnibus nobis, in saecula saeculorum. Amen.